the things. There is a little assignment to do this week besides your project, and it has to do with the website. But let me go through the instructions here because I wrote everything out. I like to write everything out. That way you can refer back to it. Plus, I don't forget, like I do it over the week. I just keep adding to it so I don't forget to tell you something. Just a reminder, this is an A week. So you do have a formative on Friday. The next week is B. So finally we'll have another B week next week. Also, please put on your calendar next Wednesday, which is an asynchronous day, but on that day, the counselors are gonna come in to work with you on FAFSA. So if you have questions, if you need help at a certain point with FAFSA, if you need like a kickstart to get started with FAFSA, it's going to be just like we did with the Apply Texas. The counselors are going to be here to work with you. I am going to send out a different Zoom link for that the night before because my A day classes and my B day classes are going to be combined in those sessions. They originally set me up to do the sessions Thursday and Friday, but that's senior pictures. So we compromised by putting everybody on Wednesday. So I'm just going to send a new Zoom link. It'll also be a reminder to you Tuesday night next week that we're going to have that session. So what else? Oh, I already talked about senior pictures, but senior pictures are going to be taken next Thursday and Friday. Did y'all get your invitations and stuff or your notifications of your time?
I haven't, not yet. Maybe because I'm like ours, I'm like towards the end.
Yeah, I guess they're doing it alphabetically. So the pictures, they're going to send you a time when you can show up. These are yearbook pictures plus your dressy senior picture type thing. So whatever you wear, they'll take a picture in that outfit, and then they're going to switch you more than likely to the yearbook outfit, which is the guys with the bow tie and the drape for the girls. I don't know if, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that because they usually just keep giving them to the next person. And I don't know if you can do that during COVID. Like put an outfit on a person and then take it off and put it on somebody else.
Maybe they'll sanitize them?
Oh yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
That,
it's gonna smell like sanitizer, like Lysol.
well, they have this mist. I know because I shouldn't admit this, but we went to the movies. Mr. Ramos and I went to the movies Saturday night because we always love going to the movies. It's like nice with the popcorn and I don't know, it's like a break. And we just hadn't been to the movies in so long, and they're open. And we went, and they have these backpacks that they put on, and they've got these nozzles, and they spray this mist over all the seats and everywhere between things. I don't know if I'm going to go all the time, but we really missed it, so we took a chance.
Isn't it called like sterilization or something like that?
Yeah, some sort of sanitization thing, but I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen with that. But
the movies never really changed. I went like when did I go on my phone? I went last month, and it nothing really changed except you don't have the ticket. Like you just have to scan it, pretty much. I thought like when you get into the movies that they would have you like sitting apart. We were all sitting next to each other. Nothing's really changed. So
well, when we went, when I bought the tickets online, we've been buying the tickets online for a long time. But when I bought the tickets, it blocked out the two seats on either side. Mr. Ramos and I sat next to each other, but then the seats on the two sides were blocked out. So nobody could sit like directly next to us. But I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm hoping that they sanitize that if they're going to make you wear that, or maybe they're not going to have you wear it. I don't know. Any other questions about the FAFSA date or the senior pictures?
Oh, what do we do if we've already done FAFSA? Do we just still show up?
You can if you want, or you can just email your counselor and say, I've already submitted my FAFSA. Because what they're going to do is they're trying to keep track of all their students, which ones are done. And then they'll start bugging all the ones that aren't done in a couple weeks. So if you're already done, she can probably just check you off. And then you don't have to come. So yeah, just email her.
Yeah, I did that already. She was like, oh, okay. Like, cause she was asking.
Oh. Yeah, then you don't need to come if you're done.
Okay.
Yeah. That way she has time to work with the people who aren't finished.
We got an email, I forgot when, but it was like, I think last week, that said like that Mrs. Bolich was having like these appointments or something like that. So I got mine. I made a reservation for, I think at 4, this Friday. So
Okay.
if they come, I could just tell her, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just because they want to make sure that as many people as possible get it done. They're going to be asking you about that that family contribution number that you're going to get. So even like on scholarships, they're going to ask you about that number. So they want to make sure everybody gets their FAFSA in so that they can get their reports and all that. Usually by the end of October. In November is when the counselors will start like bugging people and, you know, trying to set up times with them and get it done.
Yeah, I emailed her to Miss Bullich because she also like she put that thing out like though Erica said. So I emailed her and she's
And she what?
like, because I already finished it. She like emailed us.
Oh, yeah. Just email them if you're done and then they don't have to worry about you. Let me see, I was trying to fix something and I messed myself up. Yeah, so I don't think you need to come if that's the case. All right, so let's move on to the lesson part of today. The resumes, I started grading them and you should get them back by tomorrow. I think I'm about halfway through each one of the classes. I've been making comments on them just so that you can fine tune them before you send them out or ask for your letters of recommendation, however you're going to be using them. The things that I'm running into the most that I seem to be mentioning a lot is about under the headings that you have, make sure that you have dates for your involvement in different activities, you know, from, you know, 2017 to present or whatever years you were involved in different activities. And also make sure that you put in, you put those in time order with the most recent first and then going back in time because they want to see what you're involved with now and then what you might have been involved with previously. So the order is a little bit different than you would expect. It should be the stuff now and then going back, the lower you get on your list there. Also make sure that your resume is just 1 page long. I know that you want to put all of your impressive accomplishments on your resume and y'all are impressive, but a resume by definition is a summary. My resume is 1 page long and I have a 28-year-long career in education. So, you know, a resume is a summary. It's kind of like the difference if I gave you an assignment to write a novel or summarize a novel, right? There is a longer version and that's the curriculum vitae. So it's not like somebody might not ask you for a longer extended version of your accomplishments, but this is not it. So you might have to take a couple things out, take out things that are older or take out things that are less impressive to make room, or look at your white space, right? A lot of people went onto a second page because they have everything on a separate line when you could move things to like double up in a line and make some columns, or, you know, like the address to the school, you could put all of that on 1 line instead of 3 lines. So just think about your vertical space and how you could conserve that. And then the last thing I've been mentioning on the resumes is to make sure that you have consistent form. So if you have a heading that's blue and it's bold and it's in a certain font, make sure all the headings follow that. And then underneath, if you're using times size 12, make sure that all of them underneath there have times size 12. That way it will look professional when you're done and all the fonts kind of like match up and that sort of thing. But overall, they look great. I think people use some templates. That's cool. It's kind of fun when I open it. It takes a second for the grading system in Google Classroom to make it pop up. And so it's kind of like a reveal. Oh, is it going to be, you know, like somebody's picture showing up or what? So that's kind of fun. I don't get that with research papers. It's not a big surprise when I open a research paper what it's going to look like. So it's kind of fun. But anyway, keep working on those resumes. If you, you should be getting them back in the next day or two. And then there might be a couple little adjustments that I'm suggesting to you, and then you can use them. Also, college admissions essay. I made a question last week on the formative. I think it was either Wednesday or Friday last week. I asked about how you were doing with that process, and a lot of people told me that they were doing fine, but a little stuck with their essays. And of course, you can always email me. But I think some people are stuck because they might have skipped the brainstorming stage. Some people are like, I just don't know what to write about. I don't have anything unique about me, which made me sad because everybody has something unique about them. You just have to figure out what it is. You think you're boring because you're living your life and it's, you know, like normal to you. But to somebody else, some of the things that you've done might be, you know, completely different. So you have to kind of look at different experiences in your life. And I think that takes some brainstorming. So spend some time. If you get stuck, go back and just sort of like reset and say, all right, I'm going to look at this topic. I'm just going to do a web. I'm going to do a list. I'm going to do all kinds of ideas to get me thinking, and try not to think, oh, this is my college admissions essay. You know, just try to think, if somebody asked me, so what is it about your life that has shaped you into the person that you are today? Well, I don't know, think about the different aspects of your life. Do you have a prominent church element in your life? What about your family, and what ways have they influenced you? What about your schooling and your education? In what ways has that shaped you? You know, how does sports shape you, or your involvement in your activities? So think about the shaping more than the thing, if that makes sense. So if you were to make a pie chart of who you are as a person, like all the components that make up you right now, how would that pie chart be divided? Like what are your qualities? And then think about what created those qualities. So if I say, well, I'm intelligent, if I do say so myself, I'm intelligent. What made that happen? Well, it was the dedication of my parents, and it was my perseverance through college, through a master's degree. So then I can say, well, these two things made me intelligent. And they're both really based on perseverance. So now I kind of have a kernel of an idea that I could start spinning into an essay. So I don't know, try that little pie chart idea. Try thinking about, okay, if I thought of myself as a whole person, what are my components? Because your components are going to be different than anybody else's. Even if the components are the same, the ratio is going to be different. Like one person's religious impact in their life is going to be different than somebody else's, right, on the pie chart. So you can just think about what are the things that are the most prominent elements in making you who you are. If we had to make a recipe of who you are as a person, is it 1 tablespoon of, you know, smart aleck and a whole cup of nice? You know, like what are your ratios that would go into your recipe? And I think that will help you maybe brainstorm some of those things, because we're humble people and we don't like to say, well, I'm intelligent and funny, and I mean, it's true, but you know, I'm also kind and generous. Like, we don't do that in our society. That's an arrogant person. So it's hard for us to turn it around and try to say something about ourselves. And I know that, but just think about your pie chart. Anyway, so keep working on those college admissions essays. Maybe this little tip that I'm giving you today will help you. But if you get stuck, shoot it my way or send me an email and just say, I'm stuck. What do I do? And I'll try to push you out of the mud. Okay. The last thing for the lesson today is that I want to show you, I sent a link last week, and I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but we do have a website for our class because our projects are designed to put your ideas out there in the world. They're not just for me to grade, they're for other people to see. So we do have a YouTube, we have a YouTube channel that's public, we have a website, and we have a Twitter. And I just wanted to show you the website if you haven't had a chance to look at it. Let me minimize this over here. I had to update it because last year was the first year, obviously, and now we have 2 groups. So I started your website here. I'm using the visual metaphors of doors and locks, right? Like, because we're unlocking your future with this class. It's good, right? I want to show you last year's real quick if you haven't had a chance to look at it. Now, I'm going to admit that at the end of the year last year, after March, I had grand plans for putting everybody's final projects, because they did finish their final projects. They were doing some group projects second semester last year. And I never got around to it because I had to abandon keeping the website up in favor of making sure that my classes were working and, you know, people were graduating and all that stuff back in the spring. You know how it was. So the website, I kept up with it up until that point. There are some more things that people did that I need to put on here, but it's pretty extensive as it is. So I have on here lots of the topics that they were working on last year. Education reform, you can go to the ones that they did last year, since you're working on education reform right now. We were doing some brainstorming in class, and then these are all of their projects. So you can see I've linked to the project, and then I've also linked to the person who did the project. So you can kind of see what other people did previously. I'm not saying they're better or worse than yours, because I haven't seen yours yet, but I'm just saying these things have already taken place, and you can kind of look at them. And you can also look at some of the other projects they did. I have changed the project structure for us because we're virtual. Last year, they had 2 projects going at a time. A project that I was requiring of them, like education reform, and another one that they chose. So they had like 2 going all the time. But we also, every time we met in class, it was basically a work period. So that was like 6 hours every week that they could work in class. So I decided when we started virtual that I wasn't going to be that intensive with the projects, that we would do one project at a time, because we don't have that work time in class. And I know that it's an elective. So you'll see more stuff on their site because we had double the number of projects going on than this year. In any case, you can see that one of the students, Mateo Vallejo, did a podcast. He decided for his second semester project that he was going to do a podcast about the class. And so the first one, he interviewed me about how the class came to be and how I thought it was going. And then after that, he started interviewing the students in class about the projects that they were doing. So the first one is here because it's kind of explaining the course. The rest of them you can find on our YouTube channel, which you can link right here. And then you can see that there are all these topics. So youth activism was one of our second topics. Stress relief was our third topic. And then they were working on group research after that. But you can see we're working on these different topics here, and you can click on them. But I want to take your attention to the student profiles page. When we were looking over here on the education reform page, you could see that there is a link with each person. And that's because I want, if this website gets out there and other people in other places start looking at it, I want for them to know who you are. It's a website for your ideas. I mean, I'm making it, but it's about showcasing your work. So I made these, I had them submit to me a bio where they had to, there's Janelle, where they had to write up a bio of them as a person, kind of clever, and then a picture. And then I was also starting to list the projects that that person did, like a little profile of that class member. I feel bad about it. I mean, I know that it's justified, but I feel bad that I didn't get to continue with that just because of the whole COVID shutdown thing. Took my time away from it, but I was trying to list out all of their projects and things underneath there. So the student profiles page has everybody on it with their bios, right? You can click on somebody and you can look and see the person, and they submitted the picture. So whatever picture they submitted to me is what I put on their bio. And then I would sometimes put their projects on their page right there. So I want to create a student profile section for the class of 2021. And if you go back to, or I'll just show you, this is the main page for accessing our website. I already started our page, which is this one here. And you will see that it's got some of the same components. The Twitter is going to be the same and the YouTube's the same. We're just going to keep adding content to it. But I made a different website because there's different students in a different grade and a different class, and you know. But if you look over here, I made already an education reform page where I'm going to start to put in your projects as they come in. And then also a student profiles page, which right now is empty because you need to give me your bios. So all of that to explain that this week, I want you to submit to me a bio. I made an assignment for it. Where is it? Let's see. Pages. Let's just do it this way. So I did make an assignment for it. It's just brief, where it says ISE website bio. I'd like to have them by Saturday. If you're super busy, just let me know and we'll work something out. But I want to start populating that website with your bios that you write. So the assignment is here. You can just submit a Google Doc, write up your bio, whatever way you want. Try to make it interesting and clever and kind of fun. And then also insert whatever picture you want me to use there on your bio. And I'm going to start creating those so that as you turn in your projects, I can start linking your bio to your individual work on the website. So I hope that you understand that when I make an assignment that's due on a Saturday or a Sunday or something, I'm not saying you have to work on it that day. I'm just trying to give the longest possible window so that you can adjust your schoolwork to get it all done. I'm aware that there are some classes where you're getting the assignments like that day and then they're due that day. And I think that would be very frustrating if I was doing work like that, because I think to myself, oh, okay, today I need to work on these things. And then all of a sudden, blah, here's a whole bunch of other stuff. It's due in 3 hours. Okay, I was going to do these other things, but I guess I'll move that over there. These things are due now. So I imagine that y'all are doing a fair amount of that, right? Yeah, that sucks. So I am trying to make things have the greatest window possible. And in this class, everything can be flexible. So I don't have to put the bios in this weekend. I can put the bios in next week. If you can get it done, get it done. If you can't, just let me know and no big deal. Bios aren't, crucial. But anyway, I do want to start getting that website fleshed out because I want to start adding to it and getting you guys up there. So that's why I put that in for this week. Working on your projects, those are due in about 2 weeks, right? 24th or so, around in there. So I'm getting emails from people. If you are having trouble finding information, data, if you need good sources, but you've tried to search and it's not working out, you can email me and I'll do some searching and see what I can find for you. If you want me to look at what you have in your project so far and give you some feedback, then I'm glad to do that. So just keep working on it in between all the other things that you're doing. I understand that you've got a lot going on. So I'm trying to be flexible with that. And then apply Texas and FAFSAs in the background all the time anyway until you're done with them. So you can see I put the formatives up. I put them here just as reminders. And then this is the assignment for the bio. And then this is the assignment. Whenever you finish the education reform, you can just submit it here. You don't have to wait until the due date. Every so often I go and look and see if there's something in there that I need to grade. And then here are your resources for your counseling page and that seminar that I did for the college admissions essay. I hope that was helpful for you if you ended up looking at it. All right, what else? Are there any questions or anything you want to talk about?